Today is November 2nd, 2025, and welcome to the 460th episode, feels like a big number, of the So Video Games podcast. Here on the show, I talk about any game at all, including new stuff, old stuff, and anything in between. My name is Brad Galloway. I'm the one-man host of this show, and I'm also the editor of GameCritics.com, a website that uses the full range of review scores from 0 to 10, while also offering full accessibility information on every review that we publish. But I lied to you, dear listeners, because I'm not alone. Today, with me is the man who's the arugula to my iceberg, Jeremiah Bratton.
I love that you feel responsible to do this every time.
I do feel responsible. I do.
Hey there, everybody. Brad ran out of options, so I'm here.
Lies, I say.
I love it. I'll just seed that, and then we're going to have, like, Taylor Swift beef or something on the internet.
That's going to be good stuff. We're going to make it happen. I'm glad you're back. Thank you for coming back.
You've caught me at a good time. We're ready to discuss tactics at some point in this show.
Oh, we're going to talk tactics. That is for sure. Well, I'm glad you're here. It has been, I guess let's take a minute to get personal, shall we? I want to let people know if I am seeming a little bit tired this week, it is because my son, who is 16, going on, I don't know, 35 or something. He's got a bit of a thing going on. He spent the last week or so planning a trip to go spend some time with his grandparents. They live in California, and he felt like he wanted to have some independence and get a little change of scenery, and we're like, supportive, and we're all for it, basically. So it was kind of a last minute thing, but he's like, I want to just stretch my legs and have an adventure, so I'm going to go see Grandma and Grandpa in California. So we said okay, and that's fine, and he went on the train. And that was the first time he's been on a train by himself, and that was like a big boy adventure, and he was very proud to go do that, and we were nervous a little bit, but it was fine. He got there, everything was fine. But the problem with this is that he's actually a functioning member of our household. So we are down from 3 staff to 2. It's me and my wife, and he actually did quite a bit around the house. Like, he took care of our 14 chickens, and he was like on dog duty most of the days. And he would carry anything up and down the stairs that I didn't fucking feel like carrying. And anything that was like a drag, I'd be like, yo, bro, go take care of that if you want your allowance this week. And he was good about it. And it was fine. It's a good relationship, good arrangement. And now that he's gone, me and the wife are just staring at each other like, fuck. Now we got to do all this other shit that neither one of us wants to do. And we've been trying to divide the duties and reconfigure. Because he's going to be gone for like at least a month, maybe more, depending on how it goes. If he's having a good time or what. And so we're like, okay, we can't just like put everything on pause until he gets back. We got to just like suck it up and do it. And so I'm tired, man. I've been doing a lot more like grunt work and manual labor and dirty jobs than I care to. And I'm feeling the effects today.
Okay, a couple points here. One, more than a couple points. It kills me to hear that you just said his age out loud. Cool. That means that we've known each other enough that we've had enough time to collectively become dust together. Cool. Great. That's not helping my not being like a washed internet boomer ego.
Gosh, how long have we known each other? Like, honestly, was it before he was born or was it after that? When was it? I can't even remember. He must have been teeny tiny, right?
Maybe not teeny tiny, but like, so this is the problem for your son is that, I met him at a point in his life that like he will be stuck in forever, where he was like we were doing like precocious like 6-year-old kind of stuff.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Yeah.
The poor guy. And like, it's been a minute since I've seen him. Like, I'm sorry. When did your child get abducted and was replaced by a young adult? I think it's weird that you did that. So, and like, and he's cooler than I am. I hate that part too. It's like, well, when I was 16, I was like, well, I walked to the 7-Eleven on my own, but
yeah,
there weren't a lot of thrills in Ohio. So we'll get that out of the way. But last point is, this is, if anybody, listening to this is curious of like, man, all them homosexuals always be entering into like triads and 3-way relationships. What Brad just outlined for you is the reason why. Like, you need you need that third person because there's just too much to do in the house.
Fuck yeah, there is, dude. Oh my god, like maybe we need to get a gay guy in here real quick and help us out with these chores because I can't do it on my own, man.
I feel like you might have like missed the baseline of the premise, but like no, I mean generally, yeah, same.
Oh my God, you were not joking. You were not joking, and so it's funny because at the end of the day, my wife and I will look at each other, dead dog tired, just exhausted, looking at each other, just spent as we're about to pass out for the night, and we go, okay, so what didn't we do today? And the list is always long. We spent the entire day doing shit, and like there's always more shit to do, and I'm like, oh fuck. I mean, I want him to go down there, have his adventure, have a good time, etc., etc. So that's great, but also get back here and do your shit. Like this is ridiculous.
Hey, maybe it's time that you can teach him like one of the truest life lessons, which is what happens when you take a break from work and your coworker's like, well, we're not filling in for that guy. And then you come back to just like the disaster because God, you can't leave these people alone for 5 fucking minutes. They can't even take care of themselves.
Oh, it's ridiculous. And it
Sorry.
sucks too.
He's going to have to leave the house eventually. So I hate this for you.
Well, it's funny too. In fact, my wife and I have been talking about this nonstop, and actually it's just us bitching the entire time. But it's like, we created this third person to do labor for us, and we went through all the hard work of making that happen. And we have planned our entire life, like counting on him being here. And we knew that he would eventually leave the house, right? That was a given. But I don't think we were ready for that. The ramp up to this has been very abrupt. And so we didn't have like a year or two to figure out a new normal. And so we have just like this third wheel missing all of a sudden. And it's like, fuck, that was, whatever. I can't complain. Life comes at you fast. Things happen all the time. I get it. But anyway,
it's fascinating that you've been able to like kind of own yourself in a way that usually like you did the good thing, right? You've raised like a self-actualized small adult that understands like what it means to like participate in a household but unlike what it usually is, like what I'm used to, which is the parents are like, that thing is going to turn 18 and we are going to get it the fuck out of this house. Like it is a specter that haunts us. To like, oh man, like, are you sure? Like, are you sure you want an apartment of your own?
The dogs are really going to miss you. The chickens ain't going to be the same without you. Are you sure?
Yeah. So like, it's what a thing to hear it work in the completely opposite direction.
Yeah, it's been a thing. Anyway, that's a little slice of life, a little peek behind the curtain this week. Yeah, I'm tired, and you may find that reflected in my games coverage. I had like a whole lot of shit that was slotted, and it was just like every time I'd sit down, it was like, oh, dogs need something, chickens need something, wife needs something, I need something, somebody needs something. Man, okay, anyway. Well, I'm really glad you're here because I'm not sure I could carry the show myself this week. I think I've got like not enough to talk about, frankly.
Sure, I can ramble about things. All right. Let's go wild.
Let's do it. All right, let's do it. Let's get down to brass tacks here. Folks, oh man, we usually kick things off with housekeeping, and I gotta be honest here, I don't have jack shit. Do you have anything in housekeeping you want to talk about?
I mean, housekeeping is like all you do right now, so I'm trying.
Literally.
So I remember, I have to remember that housekeeping doesn't mean the same thing for you that it might for other people. So is this where I prompt you like, hey, did you publish any reviews this week?
I have that as a section. That is a good prompt. I can talk about that. But if you have anything at all randomly game adjacent, what I usually do is, I know you're brand new to the show, so I'll just fill it in a little bit more if I haven't covered it well enough. It's just like, anything in the industry, any happenings, any twists, any news, any closures, any announcements, anything at all that kind of just catches my attention. And, on weeks when I have more time, and like my week this week is like, I go to my email box, and if it's not like marked with like an urgent, I just delete, and I'm not reading anything. So I don't have anything. But if anything catch your eye industry wise in the last week or two?
I mean, the biggest thing that's in the front of my mind, especially since we live in the region, is just Amazon sending corporate.
Oh God, yeah, dude.
Sending, just taking a bite out of the Doppler building, downtown.
Yeah, so it's been terrible. I mean, how many people all together have they laid off? And in fact, one of my good friends got laid off, which sucks. I know that was a really, really, really terrible thing. But like, how many? It's like 30,000 or something. Like ultimately will be.
Yeah. So it was 14,000 this week. Like the number, like I know that just because I feel that like news wise, we're always dealing with numbers that are in like the millions and billions of things.
Yeah.
14,000 people in that area is devastating.
That's a
like,
fucking crazy number. Yeah.
And I guess like I don't know if they're all in, kind of like from the Seattle campuses, like right there down near South Lake Union, but
yeah.
If they are, shit, like if 14,000 people in South Lake Union that have like, we're talking with like median salaries of like what, like 120
at least probably. Yeah, probably more
are laid off. Like, fuck, man.
Yeah.
And the games related one was just people talking about their like their one big success, that what is it, that like New World MMO that they were running.
Oh, is that a success? I wasn't even sure if it was successful or not.
So people were like, I remember people being pretty cool on it. We're like, all right, cool, colonization simulator,
right?
Or like whatever they were saying at the time. Just because it has a lot of that loaded Spanish colonialism imagery in it, and it's called New World. But then they did a big expansion to it, and people came back to it. They liked it, and it sounds like they've done another one since then. And they're like, oh no, like I think they've got something here. And then Amazon this last week was like, oh, well, that's not sustainable anymore. I'm like, what do you mean it's not sustainable anymore? It's like, it's the one thing you have that's doing anything. So, I don't know. I've worked with Amazon a couple times, just as like from the outside, like doing contractor stuff.
Yeah.
I'm not surprised. Like that place is messy, man.
It really
is. They know how to run a store. They know how to run a store because they've been the first one out of the gate, and they've made sure that nobody else can get the foothold that they have.
Right.
But man, when it comes to like technologies and the stuff and the other stuff that they're doing, like just like Game Freak levels of effort there. I'm casting it forward into the show for you. Like all the money and resources in the world, and just some of the most like workman-like effort that can come out of it. And just, I don't know, that I in a way I'm kind of like, well, at least you don't work there anymore. It's got that like, well, like she can finally rest is kind of the vibe of it, but also like, yikes, man.
Yeah. I mean, it's funny you bring that up, because on the non-gaming side, I have had, not me personally, but I work with a lot of people who work at Amazon as contractors, and the stories are universally like terrible. Everybody shows up because the money seems really good at first, and then they're all like, I don't care how much money it is, I don't want to work here anymore. And that's pretty much the arc of how that goes. But my one friend who just got laid off, she has been just going through it and just like having a lot of problems and just not happy, but also she's the main breadwinner for her family. So she's been really hesitant to leave, but I guess that choice has been made for her. So my heart goes out to her. She's got like 2 kids and, stay at home dad, husband, who that was their plan. Not like he's a lazy bum or anything. Like that was their arrangement. And
that's sure. Just defend your class, Brad. I get it.
But yeah, I mean, so I feel really bad for them. But like, I mean, just that those jobs are kind of just going away, and they're not easy to replace. And like, I think we're kind of coming up against it in general, like in this country with like AI and everything else, is like these jobs are going away and there's nothing to replace them, and we don't have like basic income. So like, how is that question going to be answered? I mean, I don't know that we have the answer for that here on this podcast, but that's definitely something to think about. But speaking of related, you brought up Amazon, and now that I'm thinking about it, I did read a story talking about, I want to say it was like the ex game director or something like that, who, now that he was away from Amazon, felt comfortable enough to talk about stuff. And there was an article written about it saying that, how boneheaded Amazon was in some of their choices, specifically all their online gaming, how they tried to like replace Steam, the Steam store. Did you see that article go around this week?
I didn't see it, but I did hear, I would say the Waypoint crew did a an excellent job of like reading that dude's LinkedIn post and rightfully like taking his shit to task, because I agree with their assessment of it is just like, cool, you left with like a golden parachute, you're not in trouble, you're not in a precarious situation, so you get to sit here and just kind of like wax and, you know, like wax poetically about, you know, oh man, like we just, you know, we tried all these things. And I'm like, I don't know, it's that same kind of thing of like, well, that sounds easy for you, like,
yeah.
And maybe that's, you know, maybe that's not fair, like whatever honest reflections that person might have had, but you know, it's a lot of that kind of stuff that rings hollow coming from somebody that was in the place that he was, and we're just like, darn, shucks, we just didn't make it, you guys. And like, what, you know, he's not getting in the fucking bread line
exactly
with everyone else. Yeah.
Well, for people who did not read the article, let me give you a quick synopsis. Basically, and let me know if this is the same article. I think it is the same article. So this guy, whoever he was, like you said, he got out with his golden parachute, and he's not in the breadline by any means. He was talking about how Amazon basically thought they were going to create something. They were going to like basically steal Steam's lunch, right? Like they were like, well, Steam did it, we can do it too, and we've got all these resources. But basically, they, you know, he went on to say, like, we didn't understand really what Steam was doing. We didn't understand why people liked it. We just knew it was number one, and we wanted to take their market share. And so we threw, like, you know, an ocean load of money at this problem, which wasn't a problem. Like, nobody was in search of a solution because Steam existed. And we kept failing and throwing more money after it and firing and hiring and firing and opening and closing. And we couldn't get it to work. And, oh, well. And then, you know, it was a fail. And he just, like, walks away. And it's, like, colossally stupid that they were trying to solve a problem that didn't exist, which feels a lot like AI right now. And like all this money wasted, which could have gone to like who knows what resources and all these other employees that they could have retained if they had done something different. And just like the sheer stupidity of like not doing market research or even understanding the market they were trying to get into. And then, you know, whatever, the people at the top still at the top, and then, you know, they walk away, and all the people who were sucked into this vortex of dumbassery are now out of their asses. So yeah.
Yeah. And that's the thing, right? Is that it's always the people that are really like doing the work and getting paid the least that are impacted the most.
Yeah, America.
America and the world. I mean, like the AI thing alone, like is just put that into the recipe. It's grim right now. I mean, it's been 2 weeks since the world like dogpiled on some Steam game for having like generated assets or something like that.
That's every week. That's like every day.
Oh, it's just every day. Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
I don't envy those people. Like it sucks to be a developer right now. Because I don't know. Like AI is shoved down everybody's throat. But like as a developer, you are in like I find myself consistently in a strange position with AI where it's like, well, sometimes you just use it without even really kind of like with like barely participating in it, and it's just like it happens around you.
Oh, dude, that is for fucking sure. No, you're absolutely right, because, well, okay, let's take, for example, you and I are talking on Zoom right now, and so I don't know if you use Zoom regularly. I use it all the time for work, and so it's pretty easy for me to use, but they've just implemented a new like AI helper on Zoom, and a little pop-up comes up, and it was like, hey, turn on AI helper. It's going to do whatever this bullshit is that you don't really want it to do, but like, go ahead, use it. And I go, no. And there's a little box that says, check this if you don't want us to ask you again. And I go, absolutely. Thank you for the option. Check. Do not ask me again. Do not need it. Goes away. Next time I open Zoom, pop-up comes right back. Like they are shoving it in your face. They want you to like click it. They want you to do it, right? Same thing.
They want you to participate in it.
They want you to do it. Every time you do a random Google search or whatever, you know, unless you do the trick of where you can turn off the AI, like if you just are a random person doing it, like you're burning 1.3 liters of water every time you do just a recipe search for those muffins that you had last week that you want to make again. And I don't need AI to do that, and I don't need to, you know, steal some poor disenfranchised community's water and pollute the air because somebody thinks I need to have this AI summation of it. So yeah, it's like so tough to get away from it right now.
Yeah.
Anyway.
It is a box that we have opened, and I truly do not think that we can cram it back in.
And then we cut the lid off the box. I don't think there's even a lid on it anymore.
Exactly. Yeah, we did that thing. Like, I don't know if you ever had that, like, that roommate before that would like edit like boxes where they'd like cut the flaps away to make it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yes, exactly. Or you bring home some takeout, you cut off the top because you think you're going to eat it all, and you just don't want to have that flappy flap top hitting you in the face as you're eating it, and then it's like, oh, well, I didn't finish this, and now I can't close the box. So.
Yep. All right. That's where. There we go. We've arrived at where we're at with AI right now.
All right, let's get down to business. And we've fucked around long enough, I think, folks. As Jeremiah was so nice to queue up earlier, there is some stuff I want to shine a spotlight on that we ran at Game Critics this week that you may have missed if you haven't popped over lately. This week was a little bit lighter. We had episode 459, the one preceding this one. We had a review of Kaname Date. We had a review of Axis Football 2026. We had a review of Shinobi Art of Vengeance. I think we had like one or two more things that are not popping to mind, but there we go. Pop on over to GameCritics.com, of which I'm the editor. You can read that coverage, and you can also go back like 26 years in the archive to basically see any review from any point in almost the entire history of video games right there. Before we get on to the main part of the show, just a quick heads up about the Patreon supporting this show and GameCritics.com. All the costs of this podcast and its sister site are paid for out of my pocket. This pocket literally right here. And if you love the show, I would invite you all to chip in and help me keep it all running. If everybody listening or reading or even just existing in the world would chip in just $1 a month, just one, literally one, every expense would be covered. And if you can afford it, I would appreciate it. Also, shout out to the Patreon folks who are actually contributing. I've gone the last couple weeks giving shout outs to people who are contributing. It's a long list, and today is the final leg of the list. I have mentioned these folks recently, but the way the list is organized, they kind of ended up coming in last, even though they are the newest. Maybe I could flip that, whatever. Big thanks to Jeff, Karis, and Alex P. Thank you very much. And thank you to everybody else who has been contributing. You are all my personal heroes. You're all sexy and adorable and smart and charming, and I love you all. Really, really appreciate your financial contributions for sure. Quick reminder about the YouTube. youtube.com/@gamecritics.com videos for curated choices of trailers, video reviews, interviews, so forth and so on. All right, folks, as y'all know, we usually start the show with the circlebacks, where I circle back to things I've covered in depth on previous episodes. Jeremiah, I'm not sure that we did this last time, but if there's any game you've talked about in the past that you're still playing and you want to come back and talk about again, this is that section. We're not going to get into all the details. We don't need to do a full recap, but just kind of a quick update to let people know if thoughts have changed on something for better or for worse after spending more time with it. So I know it's been a while since you were on the last time. Anything you want to circle back to? And it's totally fine if not.
Let's see. We talked about Borderlands last time. We did. And that, like, I'm going to tell you that pretty much stayed where it was.
Okay.
You know, there's just no replacement for Destiny. It doesn't exist right now. What was, I got a little bit further into Fire Emblem, that NES version.
Oh, yeah. How's that going?
People died, and it definitely started to get a little bit more tricky. But what I did learn is that you don't really get to pick who you bring with you. Or maybe I just have so many people die that I don't have.
You don't have a full complement to choose from.
My roster is not overflowing to the point where I would have to make choices. But you're kind of always getting like new people. Like there's almost like one new person per map. But it did get to a place where like there's just kind of like a combat puzzle that I can't solve, and it was Final Fantasy Tactics time. So
gotcha.
Maybe after being living through the tactics grinder, I can come back and be refreshed anew. The only other thing I can think of is I did sling a copy of Vandal Hearts onto my Anbernic. I only opened it and looked at it, but it's in the queue now, officially.
Oh boy. I'm really, really anxious to hear what you say about that one. I have no idea, honestly, if it even holds up. I remember back in the day when it was new, loved it. Absolutely had just like a ball with it. Just really, really just ate it up. Every single thing I could do, I did in that game. Thought it was great. And I'm very, very curious because it's kind of garnered a little bit of a cult status these days. But honestly, who knows if it's even fun or playable or how clunky it feels after all these years. So definitely would like the full report next time we have you on the show or whenever you crack into it. I definitely want to hear about that one.
Yeah, I played through that opening just to see it. It's like style-wise, it's very interesting. It has I know that it was not done by a European studio, like it's a Konami game, but it's kind of got this like big nose, doughy, waxy face kind of presentation to it that like I think a lot about when I think of some sort of like PC, some sort of like PC strategy game or like PC adventure game out of the UK, kind of around that same time.
Okay.
So yeah, we'll see. I'm actually maybe a little bit more excited about Vandal Hearts 2.
Oh, ugh. I remember hating that one, dude.
Because it had like they did something strange with it where you and the computers, like the system side of it, your units take you, and you pick a unit and the computer picks a unit, and they take their turn at the same time.
Yes, I remember that.
So it sounds
clearly.
like weird and unpredictable. So like, I'm not saying I would actually be able to survive it, but I went back and just kind of read a bunch of reviews, and man, reviews were different at that time. Lots of mixed bags. Between the two, like I'm gonna see them. We're gonna go through.
All right, we're gonna talk about this. I can tell you, I very clearly remember absolutely hating the shit out of Vandal Hearts 2 after loving the first one. That change of two characters, one friendly, one enemy, moving at the same time, I remember it being a fucking banana shoes shit show and just being like so awful. And oh dude, I mean, even after like 20 years or whatever it was, I still despise that game. So I'm very curious if I would play it differently, if I would receive it differently these days. I don't know. I mean, honestly, I don't know. But back then, I could not get out of it fast enough. So very curious. We have those things in our future. Looking forward to hearing about that. Circle backs for me. Just got one this week. Bounty Star, which I talked about last week, and I was really high on it. And this is exactly the reason why I created the circle back section, because there's, you can only play so many games per week, and with life and, you got a job or a spouse or kids or pets or chickens or whatever, like somebody who is on the podcast content mill cannot afford to sink 50 hours into one game, because I can't just podcast about this game for like 3 weeks. Right. So like, I think it's just kind of commonly understood that when you're listening to a podcaster, unless they specifically say they finished something, you can assume they probably didn't finish it. They're probably dipping in for a quick look, playing it for like a day, maybe 2 days, and then they got to play something else because you got to have something to talk about on the show, right? I mean, I think that's pretty common sense. So I played Bounty Star for about a day and a half last week, and I was like, oh my gosh, I really like this game a lot. Just quick recap. It's a Western-themed mech suit game, third-person, real-time action, where you've got a couple really light sim elements, but then there's also combat and tinkering with your mech, like a really, really baby shoes version of Armored Core or something like that. And it was working. It was working for me. And I'm like, oh shit, this is really fun. I love Western plus anything. I like tinkering with mech suits. I like third person combat. This is all my jam. And I was pretty high. In fact, I was so high on it last week that I chose it to be the last game of the show, because I like to end on a high note, and that was like my high note for the week. Coming back this week to say that enthusiasm has pretty much vanished. I feel pretty disappointed, actually. I think it starts really well, and I think for the first couple hours, it's just like, it's cool idea after cool idea, and it's so neat, and you're seeing the game unfold. But this game, I suspect, has been put together by a small team, and I think that maybe they were reaching a little bit too far, because when I got to about maybe a third of the way through the campaign, I don't feel like I was even halfway through, you start to see the limits of what they were able to create, and it got pretty disappointing. I started seeing some of the same levels pop up, and it wasn't even just like the same map, but like do it differently. It's like the exact same map with the exact same characters and even the same objectives. So like you'd go to like Dry Gulch the first time, and you're like, oh cool, this is a neat map, I'm gonna shoot these guys. I'll do 2 of the 3 goals on this map, and I'll come back to it later if I don't feel like it. But I didn't think I would ever really come back to it. Dry Gulch will pop up again, same enemy, same location, and you've already done 2 of the 3 things. But it's like, okay, I don't really want to do that again. You don't have to, but like otherwise, there's not a lot of content if you're not engaging in those side missions which repeat. The mech suit is not super deep in terms of customization. It seemed like it got off to a good start, and I was hoping more things would open up, but like as I went, like not a lot was opening up. And the game really hinges heavily on kind of a rock, paper, scissors system, which I've never been the biggest fan of. So I feel like that kind of petered out pretty quickly. the sim farm elements did not feel significant to me. They felt like annoying, but not like additive enough to make up for the annoyance. You're watering crops, but you only use the crops to eat meals, which give you a bonus before each battle. And I totally forgot that system even existed. I did the bonuses were pretty like minimal, so I didn't bother with it. There's another system where you're powering generators before each mission, and that just saves you a couple $100. But I ended up having like tons of money, so I didn't really care that I was losing a couple $100. It just felt like the team is, and I hate to be so negative, I feel like the team has a really good idea. I feel like they're going in the right direction. I had a great time with those first couple hours, but I feel like they just didn't have enough of anything. The mech wasn't deep enough. The combat wasn't polished enough. There weren't enough levels or enemies. There wasn't enough variety in the gameplay. It's just like wonderful start, but you hit the ceiling of it pretty quickly, and then at that point, I didn't finish it. I felt like I was just kind of grinding at that point, or I was hitting repetition, and that was not interesting. So I noped out, which was kind of a bummer because I was really into it when it seemed like there was so much promise, right? But I guess I don't know. I guess not every game can be better. I guess.
So with this type of game, do you see any sort of like mastery path or anything that's in there? I might have to explain where my head is a little bit more with that, but I'm really bad about sensing that in a game. So it's a thing that I try to look for. Is like, well, you're getting bored now. So now that you're getting bored, is this where you like... Boredom is ideally sometimes where you like crack the next level of something. Yeah. Where you're like, I'm bored with it, so now I can break it.
I'm sure you can min-max some stuff, but I feel like the combat was fine. I didn't really have to pay a lot of attention to the paper, rock, scissors. There's not a lot of meaningful choices that you can do once you get a good setup going. I mean, I think heat is like the biggest thing to manage in the game, but you can pretty quickly figure that out. And it's not, I just got into a groove pretty quickly. I had a good loadout, and that was fine. Served me for most missions, and it was okay. I just feel like there should have been more to it, and I didn't feel like there was like a hidden depth to where I was like, having the best possible mech for all things. I mean, I get what you're saying about having a mastery curve, but it just didn't hit for me. I was hitting the point at which I felt like I had seen what the game had to offer, and maybe I'm wrong. I mean, maybe there was more waiting in the wings, but at the point that I got to, I was like, okay, I feel like I've seen and done all of the ideas, and I don't see anything new coming to where I'm just kind of iterate on these things until credits roll. And that's kind of where I tap out of most games. I feel like most games should end when they run out of new ideas, and I feel like most don't. So I didn't get the sense something was coming soon, and I did get pretty bored with it. So
do you like any concept of how much of it is left?
I feel like at least half, if not more than half. More time than I wanted to sink into it, basically.
I'm always fascinated by this push and pull with games, where that razor thin line of when do you turn off new systems? When do you turn off tutorials? And how much space do you give that player to then like play in the sandbox, so to speak?
Yeah.
And that's the line right now, right? You would not be able to know if it actually is granting, like, did they truly run out of, maybe they didn't run out of systems. They have exactly as many as they expect to have in there. But then what they've run out of are scenarios in which you can apply what you have. So it's not about giving you something new. It's more that just like, all right, we've got 2 scenarios now that would challenge this, that you're just going to like do over and over again versus, I feel like something that like the last like 10 Mario games have been praised for, which is you kind of do the easy mode campaign route. And then what is laid out for you afterwards is, just an enormous buffet of like weird thoughts on how you would use your tool set.
Yeah. No, I think you're exactly right. I think that's a really astute observation, actually, because so I hadn't thought about it in those terms, but now that you said it, I think that has kind of crystallized something to where I felt like I had seen the scenarios the game was going to offer, and I did not... Maybe there was more coming, but at the point that I was at, I felt like I had stalled out there was nothing interesting for me to explore. And I don't feel like the rock, paper, scissors of the combat or the heat management of having an efficient mech loadout, either of those, neither were deep enough nor interesting enough to make me want to focus on those as like the bread and butter of where I get my enjoyment from play. And so if that's what they were hinging on, it didn't work for me. I needed like different combat situations, maybe trying to tinker with different weapon loadouts to be more effective against specific enemies. Not necessarily rock, paper, scissors, like the rocket launcher is better against these armor guys, but like, you know, like being overpowered in one area, like outnumbered, or maybe there's some kind of I need to strip down to do a stealth run or something like that, which is something that I think Armored Core in the past was pretty good at, where you would have these situations where you're like, I have all these pieces and I need to put them together in a certain way in order to get through this gauntlet. Sometimes it's brute force, sometimes it's speed, sometimes it's stealth, sometimes it's something else. I just didn't feel like those hooks were here. So yeah, what was on offer did not compel me enough to want to see the full meal deal. So yeah, I think you're right. I think, but it is an interesting design challenge, and I really honestly, I hate to be so negative, and I would really encourage this team to keep going, because I think they've got such a great start. I haven't even mentioned the story, which I thought the story was interesting, about a person who is a world weary soldier who doesn't want to go back to combat but is dragged back into combat, and once they're there they realize they still kind of like it, and they have really mixed feelings about that. I mean, pretty interesting. She's also like a female protagonist, which is always good. And I mean, there was the story like went harder than it needed to, which I think was good, but it wasn't enough to save the overall experience. So I think the team is onto something. I think they just need to work on it a little bit more and keep pushing, and I think that they've got some talent on display, but this one wasn't the one for me. So
yeah, I put games like this into a different, a completely different like pile of shame, which is it simple enough? Like, did I like it, but did I also feel that I arrived at like the solution for the game? Meaning that like I have my Control was like this. I'm trying to pick one that we can really bang on. Control was like this. I found my play style halfway through that game, and it took me the rest of the way through the game.
Gotcha. Yeah.
So like when you have something like that, it's like, okay, can I come back to this 6 months from now? Like just out of boredom or something like that. Like I want to revisit, but it's simple enough that I can come back to it without having to feel like I need to restart. And then we can like, I'll have the dopamine I need to see the rest of it. I wonder.
Yeah. Questions for the ages, something to think about for sure. All right, folks, we are done with Circle Backs. Let's get on to the new stuff. And thanks to Jeremiah being here, we do have a couple 3 games to talk about. Sir, let's start with you, since I just talked about Bounty Star so much. New games this week. You have Escape from Duckov, which I had not even heard of until you had brought it up. And my first question to you before the show was, is this a parody of Escape from Tarkov? And it seems to be yes. So give us the capsule. What is this game? Where is it from? What is even going on here? And then like fill us in.
I'm actually kind of surprised that you haven't seen it, because this is one of those games that just comes along every now and then that just like fills the feed for me. So like for everyone listening, I am absolutely like that the video game podcast kind of person. Like I'm subscribed to quite a number of them. So like I'm constantly hearing about people talk about stuff. I have like a problem. Like I have gone to Kotaku.com for so long in my life. I now just do it. Almost without even realizing that I've done it, and it's on my screen. So just like through like taking this trip through like the video game, like the video game press world, this thing was just for like 2 or 3 days was fucking everywhere. Like even the Mac App Store put it in front of me while I went to go like update Slack. So there was just like a minute where I'm like, what? Like what is that? Like why are you putting this thing in front of me? So, yes, it is a like a take, like a, I guess some form of parody on Escape from Tarkov. More specifically, it is an extraction shooter take. So I'm going to tell you that I don't have the strongest idea of what an extraction shooter like is, because I feel that I have an idea of what it kind of is. Like when someone says extraction shooter to me, I think about like Payday.
Yeah, okay.
Like, I think about that type of game where, like, it's you and a group of other people going through, like, just getting put into a fucking meat grinder, and you have to, like, you're trying to get away. Or, like, more specifically, like, you go into the center of something, you get your target, and now you've got to get the fuck out. Like, they're hard, they're kind of competitive, or, like, I believe that they're competitive. Like, they're not for me. They have a specific.
Quick question for you, since you're bringing this up, if you don't mind. Sorry to interrupt you, but I want
Go for
to. So extraction shooter is a phrase I hear a lot these days, and I think, like you, I think a lot of people don't exactly have a nailed down thesis of what that is. But when you're saying extraction shooter, are you thinking extraction as in we need to extract, like exit, exfiltrate, or are you thinking extract as in we need to grab resources and extract those resources and get out? Which one is it for you? Or both? Either? Neither?
I think it's both. At least what I feel that I know of like a genre when somebody says extraction shooter to me, it is for certain you are being extracted. Your goal is to extract, to like get out of wherever the fuck you are. But I also believe that I've seen someone call something an extraction shooter where you do have a goal, like you're infiltrating and then you're exfiltrating. That's part of the whole loop.
Okay.
For it.
All right.
So, and I don't know much. Here's the funny thing about Escape from Tarkov is like it's a thing that you just hear said out loud so much that you think you know literally anything about it.
Yeah.
And I truly do not. So what that means for Escape from Duckov is like you at least know that you've got this take that it's making. It's a single player game, and it is done in like a isometric, like 3/4 top down kind of diorama style kind of view, which, so flat out, I'm an absolute fucking sucker for that. I may not play your game, but I will look at your game if it looks like this game looks like a twin stick, like kind of like a PS3 era twin stick shooter.
It does.
Like
it does.
What's that zombie? The Project Zombie or something? No, it's not that one. There was a really popular zombie game, or like Tesla versus Lovecraft.
Yeah,
I'm trying
there
to
was
think
a lot
of,
of those. A lot of those where
Yeah.
you're twin stick, top down, 3/4 view for sure.
Yeah, so if your game looks like that, like you have my attention, maybe not deservedly, but you still have it. So that was like one thing that got me. And then I saw it, like, I was like, okay, is this some sort of weird fucking multiplayer shooter where you're like yucking it, like where you've got this like Fall Guys looking duck that you're controlling? And the answer is no. It's single player. And while there are there's co-op mods, it is a single player game.
Interesting.
Where
okay.
It's got quests, it's got stats, it's got line of sight. You're kind of like inching your way out from the base that you're in. And then a lot of what I've been doing just in these early stages is that you have to go out and scavenge. So like you need a workbench. Like it's doing that kind of thing. So you have to go out and you have to find supplies, and you have to get back to have those supplies to like complete these like little quests and missions. And the map doesn't change, at least not that I've seen. There's like this counter for a storm that's going to happen at some point, but it's in my gameplay loop, it's like way off. It's a ways off. So going out and doing this, your progress on the map stays. So you actually are getting to like incrementally explore a space, which is another thing that I'm an absolute fucking sucker for, is like getting to go out and kind of learn the space. The part where it gets weird is that, well, one, there's no controller support for this game. This game is PC only, and it is on that fucking keyboard. It is keyboard and mouse. Your mouse moves your reticle on the screen, and it orients, like in twin stick shooter style, it orients your character. So they're always facing towards where your cursor is on the screen.
Gotcha.
It is WASD movement, F to pick up, space to roll, shift to run. Like it's a lot of finger exercise. So I know that like accessibility is like a big thing around here.
Yes, for sure.
I don't know why. I don't know why I said it that way. Accessibility in games is important.
I did not take offense. No worries.
These motherfuckers and their accessibility. So it's not. I can't tell how much of a choice the keyboard thing is. And what I mean by that is the method of control really takes this kind of like cutesy like punch up of fairly serious like a serious like genre kind of thing, and it makes it kind of high stress because you don't have all of your like buttons underneath your fingertips the way that you would expect them on a like you being really comfortable navigating using your keyboard becomes important. So maybe another mech game call out here is you have to be really comfortable with your method of control. So on one side that's an accessibility nightmare. On the other side, it kind of feels like an intentional choice where like they kind of want the control scheme to be a little overwhelming because it makes it adds a little bit of like your input mechanism adds a little bit of tension because you can't panic. Like this game will absolutely just put a bullet in your head, in your cute little head, if you panic. And you have to move a lot slower in this game. It looks like a game that you can just like Vampire Survivors your way through, just blasting in every direction. And you can't. And this is where like I started to play it and I was like, I died immediately and I was like, this is clumsy and weird. And then like I did another run and I'm like, okay, I did better. And then I did another run and then we did another one and another. And like, it's been kind of propulsive in that way because once I learned that it wants you to go a little bit slower as you move around, it becomes something a lot more entertaining where it's not a twin stick shooter. It's something you have to move very deliberately through. It does line of sight. So you have a cone of vision that goes out from your little duck, and you can hear things around you, and you can buy headphones to put on your duck that help you like isolate sound in a direction better, like the stat goes up.
Okay.
But you can look into a clump of trees and you can only have like the thinnest line of sight through it, and like an enemy will come running out from the side behind you. And they were right there in front. They were literally standing in front of you. It's just that when you look at something, the game you do not have infinite visibility to the horizon. And I think that's like something about this that like takes it from just being like another like twin stick shooter kind of thing and makes it its own like special thing. You can't hold down your mouse button to shoot. You actually have to like your cursor recoils.
Oh, really?
So
interesting.
Like if you like, it has all the standard weapons that you would expect. So if you have like a little like SMG and you start firing it, how they represent that on the screen is that your cursor starts to like wiggle all over the place.
Oh, okay. I gotcha.
So you have to like, you can like tap your mouse button to get a couple shots off, and then you have to reorient your cursor on something. Right. So I think the way that maybe that's not revolutionary, but I feel like the way that they've implemented it actually feels really good. It actually makes it feel like you nailed a shot rather than just like you clicked on something and removed it from the screen. Gotcha. So yeah, like, and then a lot of like survival and crafting stuff on top of it. You have to manage your energy. You have to manage hydration. And then it's packed full of like a bunch of little weirdos. That game is strange. I almost took it up as a dare because I'm like, fine, internet, I'll look at it. And the more I play it, I'm like, oh, I could stay here for a while. Like, I could see this.
Interesting. This is giving me very strong survival game vibes, like games where you build a base and like you collect food and you build stuff, but also like you've got to be very careful about your movement through. I don't play a lot of those, but I do like them when they hit. Like every once in a while, one will come up, and I'm like, oh, this is my jam totally. Where you kind of like you said, like you explore the world, you kind of make your way. It's making me think a little bit of like something like State of Decay back in the day, where this is like completely a different genre, completely different game, but like the spirit of it sounds the same. Did you ever play State of Decay way back when?
I only touched that game, but I know exactly what you're talking about. I would tell you that, yeah, I feel that like this game like speaks a lot of the similar type of language that something like State of Decay does.
Yeah, like you have to manage your food. You're cautiously moving forward. You're very like environmental awareness is really important, and it's not a shooter kind of a thing. So that, I dig those when they hit. And in fact, like hearing you talk about it is making me more interested in it. Although I think hydration is kind of taking it a little bit too far. I only like minimal food and water bars. Like I don't know. I don't want to spend too much time crafting oatmeal or whatever. But I will say, as you were talking about it, I was Googling it and I was looking at it and I'm like, okay, now I know why I have not been paying attention to this, because number one, PC only, and with zero controller support, I'm like so far out. Like there's no way. My hands turn into seal flippers when I need to do WASD, and I cannot do it.
It makes it a But so this is like my biggest like conflict with it is, now that I've spent some time playing it, I can tell you that like if I could drag this up on that Switch 2, because the Switch 1 wouldn't run this, or like my Steam Deck, I would have already lost hours into this, because it would smooth out that input concern, that friction, to the point that I could just like do run after run. But I gotta be honest with you, like now that I actually don't know if I want that now. And which is crazy to think of, because I was almost like, while I was doing the tutorial, I literally had to do the like take a deep breath, engage the game where it's at, let it show you what it has to offer, and then like I hit immediately. It's like, you've got to be fucking kidding me. What do you mean it doesn't have controller support? But now, like 4 hours into it, I'm like, I don't know if I'd have as much fun if it was on a controller. And it's rarely do I feel that way about a game. Hey, I would probably really like it if it had controller support. But I'm also telling you that like, kind of like big crazy fucked up mech game for the Xbox whose name I can never remember.
Steel Battalion.
Thank you.
Yep.
Sometimes having the fucked up controller, like the guitar controller or the DJ controller for DJ Hero, you need that in order to like get stuck in with something.
I hear what you're saying, and I am of two minds about it, because I think that video games are so diverse and interesting and flexible that you can play with the very idea of interface as a part of the game element. Like you said, kind of making the controls more difficult to simulate whatever it is. Like in real life, it's way harder to change the clip on a gun than it is by pushing A or something. So maybe they want to like put a couple barriers in there to kind of like get that same feeling of like, oh shit, I need to do this thing really quickly, and it's difficult, to kind of give you that stress. Squeaky bum time, as they would call it in the UK, I believe. I get it. On the other hand, I'm like, fuck off, no. Like I feel like there's other ways to do it, and I'm just like, if they don't ever bring it to controller, I will never play this game. And it's interesting, not only just from the accessibility standpoint, but just from like, I don't know. It depends. I get what you're saying, and I think there's merit to it, but also I know who I am, and I'm not sure that those two things are going to coincide.
Yeah, there's a huge accessibility problem around it. There's just like, and to be as capitalist about it as possible, like there's like a market spread that they can only go so far with. So like if they do want to spread it a little bit further, they do need to like, there needs to be a console version, and they need to have controller support. I don't think the game is worse because you can play it with a controller. I am just finding that like the friction that their keyboard and mouse scheme gives to me, a person who doesn't play these types of games.
Yeah.
So like I'm being challenged on an input level in a way that I'm not really used to, because let's face it, most games for you and I and the people who are listening, you can pick up that controller and like maybe like your dodge is on the wrong, like on the button you don't expect it to be, but 5 minutes and you're probably fine. You're settled in.
Yeah.
Like we are rarely challenged in terms of like of how we interact with a video game. So like maybe just for the moment that's refreshing for me. I actually think they have like a thing that's strong enough, to survive controller support. It's nothing like that. I have found my reaction to it interesting, that like all like this thing that I literally was just like, oh, I'll throw up in my mouth a little bit. An hour later I'm like, fuck yeah, this is exactly what I needed. Like this dexterity test is actually what I'm here for. So it's a hard recommend right now, but like if you feel that you could just get over the keyboard and mouse stuff, maybe like what I told you is like interesting enough that you're like, I do like friction. I think that like the $15 that I think the full 20 that they want out of you for this is like, I think is a good time.
Right on. That's a pretty strong recommend. Not for me. I know myself enough that even if I did buy it, I would never play it. So I'm not going to even fool myself for a moment. But if it comes to console, maybe we'll talk.
If your son ever comes back with milk and cigarettes, you can get him into it and he can play it for you.
That's true. I can watch over his shoulder and we can do that. All right. That is a very interesting recommend. I'm glad you brought that one. That is Escape from Duckov. And right now I'm looking at the interwebs. Tells me it's PC and Mac only. All right.
Crazy that it's for Mac though, right? Like it's for nothing else, but you can play it on a Mac.
Hey folks, that clown horn indicates that I have fucked up. In brief, we talked about a specific game and got through almost the entire segment before I realized it was still under embargo. So rather than try to course correct in the middle of the show, I have just put that funny clown sound in there to let you know how I feel about my performance today. And we will save that segment and I will insert it in a future show after the embargo drops. That is all. Now we return to our regularly scheduled programming. Thank you all. Moving on back to you, Jeremiah. A little game. I haven't heard of this. I don't know, some kind of indie thing. It's not familiar to me, but Pokemon ZA. Has anybody heard of this?
I mean, like, it's funny to me that you, like, we make the crack of, like, oh, a little indie game. But, like, remember that, like, some of the stuff that Game Freak has said in the past where they want to stay small so they can have that, like, that indie thirst kind of to them. I think that I think that statement is absolute bullshit, but like just remember that like they've kind of said that before, like, no, like, man, we keep it tight, we keep it small. Yeah,
and they've done a few things that have not been Pokemon, and I think they've all been like utter disasters from what I can recall. I remember they've done a few little oddball games here and there, and none of them got traction as far as I can remember.
Yeah, I mean, like, they didn't maybe get traction, but I think, let me think. So what did Game Freak do? Timbo the Badass Elephant is okay.
Oh, I did play that one. Yep.
And I think that it's one of those ones that's kind of like in my head to like, maybe we should go back and like see what that's like now, because I know that it was a game. Game Freak was very loud that they were making this game at the time, and like, oh my god, it has ass in the name. Like, they're going crazy over there. And then it's kind of like a weird Sonic the Hedgehog style kind of game. I don't think I was very good at appraising it at the time. But so they did that one. Harmonite on the 3DS, I really enjoyed.
Did you? Okay. All right.
It was super simple. Like, it's super, super cozy. Asked like nothing of you. Just like rhythm game kind of thing. It was okay. Pocket Card Jockey is their absolute win.
That one's a good one. I will concede that one was a winner for sure. I enjoyed that one quite a bit.
And then the last one they did was Little Town Hero, which was
that one, yeah.
I like the idea of that game, but kind of like, well, so let's call back to like what we were talking about in Vandal Hearts 2 just earlier, where like the system that they have in place it's maybe like a little unpredictable, and it's more like it's layered like a board game. So it's got some of that, like, think of some of your worst board game nights where you've
Yeah.
got like, you're trying to teach people something and there's like 4 layers of, kind of like 4 layers of progression for how you're supposed to do it. And Little Town Hero, like, has an idea. It keeps it kind of small, but like it falls absolutely prey to like the idea that you have like, you have a, like, you move around the board and then you, like, the things that you have are like a concept that you need to turn into an idea that then you need to put into action. And like, but they're resources that go away. It's just like,
Yeah.
it's a lot. So Game Freak does fine on the side, but like, no, they don't. I can't think of anything that they've done that's been like a huge, like, that has garnered them an enormous amount of fame outside of their name being attached
Exactly.
to Pokemon.
Yeah. So we return to Pokemon.
Yeah, Pokemon continues to be like a difficult thing to be a fan of. I'm just going to tell everybody up front, I am one of those Pokemon people. It is a thing that has been with me in my life for a really long time. It's something that I fall so easily into because I'm comfortable with it. I don't have to think a lot about it to engage with it. And overall, I think the core of what it can be is consistently engaging. Like, it's fun to go out and like fill up my little book. It's the team building aspect can be done really right in a Pokemon game in a way that just like truly other games, I find it amazing, have just not really been able to deliver. Of just like the way that you can like interlink a team of like 6 things to play out a much larger strategy than you probably would with like a team of 3 in a turn-based RPG, in like a Final Fantasy or something like that.
Yeah.
There's just like a lot of room for fuckery. And sometimes they manage to like hit kind of a nerve about what it's like to exist in their like really weird world that conveniently changes at all, like that never remembers anything. And it always has this like conflict between like nature and people with pets, cockfighting, like all sorts of like, sometimes they go places. Pokemon ZA is okay. Like,
in summation, it's okay.
I like, after all of that, I think the most that I can give you is somebody who was really excited for it. I loved the idea that they were returning to Lumiose. I think the setting for X and Y, I loved the setting for X and Y. Like, this is another thing about Pokemon where like certain settings just like get under your skin. But they haven't really done anything with it. I love the idea that they were going to take the Dragon Age 2 approach and like lock it to the city. But there is stuff going on, and I think there's enough going on for there to be a game. But I cannot get away from the fact that like I am dealing with something that the Pokemon Company has put out in 2025, that Nintendo has trotted out as a like frontline product for a new console, and I know it splits these 2 generations. It's basically a Switch game, not a Switch 2 game.
Okay.
But it's barren, it's lifeless, and this isn't because like maybe the writing isn't there or because there's like not enough stuff to do. I'm not looking for like Assassin's Creed levels of like widgets to interact with. Like, core stuff is fine. But like, y'all couldn't even like pose your NPCs. Like, everybody is like standing in, like, the majority of the people that you see on the street are standing in their default pose with a Pokemon next to them, and they don't emote. I don't know. There's a kind of like early indie game studio effort that's here. And I think that if an indie game if some sort of like little indie darling studio had released exactly what Pokemon ZA is, we would be having like Game of the Year discussions about it. But because it's Pokemon and because it's Game Freak, and like there is no bar to set anymore. They're just like, what if there just wasn't a bar? Because we keep tripping over it.
Yeah.
It's hard to not feel that sense of disappointment from it. Because the effort is just kind of amateurish. It's very workmanlike. And it's just, how can you demand the price that you have the revenue that you report, and this is what comes out the other end. Like, I'm going to need you to like do a little bit more than just like what you feel is the minimum viable product to get this out.
But they keep it small. They keep it indie. They keep it small. They keep it tight.
And then, so this is there you go. That was me like arriving all the way back to that statement. Not even talking about all the things, like if you go on Glassdoor and like you just kind of look around the internet, by all accounts, Game Freak is actually like a shitty place to work at. Like they introduced like they tried to get, I think it was around Scarlet Violet. They were like, we're going to do like Game Freak's doing, we believe in work-life balance. We're going to do 4-day work weeks. And then like it goes a little bit longer, and then you find out like, well, but there's a penalty for working yeah, no, we don't have a 4-day work week where you get paid for 5 days. You don't get a full salary for that. That'd be stupid.
Dirty.
You can work for 4 days a week and only be paid for 4 days a week. Yeah. So like, there's a lot of background noise when it comes to Game Freak that like adds to my disappointment. Like just kind of my general disappointments around this game. Like it's kind of flat. It's still kind of empty. I just like Xenoblade exists, like Tears of the Kingdom exists. Like we've seen more and better.
Yeah.
Like with even just lesser names. So always putting in the least amount of effort. So game wise, it's called Z through A because they are literally doing battle royale. Where I'm going to give you the jokey version of this. Where like, man, all these people have been like abducted and they're stuck in Lumiose City, and then every night they got to go out into the streets and fucking fight each other, warrior style, to rank up. Obviously, as one does. Like that's what happens when you move to a city. Like we just talked about Amazon. So you're ranking up in this battle royale from rank Z to rank A. That's where that comes from, in case anybody like just hasn't looked into this or touched it at all.
Which is me. Thank you.
Yeah. Because these Legends games that they've been doing are it's their goal to be the different one. So the hook with this one is much more, they are focused on battling. They are focused on doing the fights. And instead of it being turn-based, now you have like real-time ARPG cooldown kind of stuff that you're doing.
Okay, like Final Fantasy, like, you know, the little meters, cooldown meters, you just fire them off as soon as they queue up.
Or like Diablo, actually, I think is a closer equivalent.
Okay, gotcha. All right.
Just because you literally do just have a rotation almost in a way that you can work with. Or like Pal World, I can't help but notice that maybe ZA kind of like cribs Pal World's combat system.
Really? That's an interesting turnabout.
Just to put that out there, just gonna say it out loud. Anyhow.
Huh.
So I think that that's a notable change for it. And sometimes like they can kind of get you in these situations where, you know, you're used to like, okay, I've got one Pokemon at a time that I'm dealing with. We're taking turns. And instead, there's just times like, shit, I am surrounded by things. So now I have to prioritize who goes first. And like, I have 4 different types of Pokemon around me. 2 of them I'm weak to, 2 of them I'm strong to, like just with the one that I have out. There are moments where I'm like, okay, this is exciting. Where like, I actually have to juggle my team. I have to know the team that I brought with me well enough to cycle through this bar and know, do I have the type of move that I need? I'm surrounded by fucking ghost Pokemon. 5 of my team can only do normal attacks, which do nothing to ghost Pokemon, by the way. So like, I've got 1-star hitter in here that like needs to make it through this fight. Your Pokemon move with you, so moves can be dodged in a way. So like moves are just
dodged?
Not in the way that you might think. You as the trainer can dodge, and actually you as the trainer get hit now.
Oh, really? Interesting. Okay.
So you can get wiped out from you getting hit. And what's funny is that sometimes I don't know how the game manages this. You will draw more aggro than your Pokemon sometimes.
Is it pretty common that like maybe you will get knocked out because the trainer takes too much damage, but your Pokemon team are still like okay in the field?
Well, if you get knocked out, it's done. So you're having to like, you literally have a tuck and roll to get out of the way.
Okay.
Your Pokemon do not, but as you move around the space, they kind of track you. So if you can see a move coming that has a bit of a wind up, you can move out of the way and like you can hopefully you can lower the percentage that the move will hit. I actually think that shit's really cool. If they won't because they're Game Freak, but I think there's something here that they could actually really dig into, and of like taking Pokemon down the ARPG route instead of the turn-based one. Again, they are not one to seize meaningfully on opportunity. They have, like, as a company, they have amnesia.
Well, it's funny you say this, though, because I'm not a Pokemon guy. Like, I'm not really... I have played a couple of Pokemon games in the past, but it's never really clicked with me. And I think I'm one of those people who got tired of them not upping their game, kind of like what you alluded to earlier, you know, like how are the animations not better? How's the emoting not better? How is it at this low level? And even with some people saying, well, it's meant for kids. I mean, okay, cool. But like kids demand better than this. They can get better than this, and it's still accessible to kids. So I kind of noped out when I kind of had that kind of experience of just that dragging in terms of the niceties of it. But like the action that you're describing to me, like, does sound kind of interesting. I could see some potential for that, and like, you know, dodging and real-time attacking. Those are things that I enjoy playing in a lot of games, and applying that to Pokemon is something that I haven't seen before. I'm not knowledgeable about the whole franchise, so maybe they've done it before, maybe they haven't. But that sounds pretty good to me, actually. It's a bummer that the rest of it kind of sounds like it's kind of static.
And again, like the trappings around it are fine. Like the game, I'll agree with everybody. The majority of the internet's assessment is that you get this map that you can see, and so they kind of lock you on their story path. Like they're almost to the point that they seem like, hey man, if we let you go do whatever you want to do, I think you're going to find out that we've got 5 minutes worth of content for you. So like, you better stick with me, kid. To the point that like, if you need to go somewhere, like you always have your main buddy with you in a Pokemon game, that you always have your annoying buddy that like drags you along. Ever since like Sun and Moon is when they did the one in their Hawaiian setting. Like you've just got this character that's like dragging you through the game. And in ZA, so like you'll see a zone where you can go, like you see a park where you're like, I want to go catch these Pokemon. You walk up to that park, the game stops and pulls up a prompt where like your girlfriend calls you and she's like, hey, no, we're going over here now. Like, what are you doing? And I'm like, I want to be away from you is what I want. So I've never been more excited for a game to tell me there are side quests, because when it did, it meant that I could go do what I wanted to do.
Right.
Which is funny because you do side quests to complete a main storyline quest. And so like, I just drug my feet through all of these like really bare bones collection quests to like come back in. Like, all right, fine, we'll do story now. It's a lot of good and bad. I think that there's like a good idea under here. It's hard to get away from the fact that it feels like an $80 prototype. Like, and I'm using monetary value to just like hammer the nail down, which isn't fair, I suppose. But I think people are reasonable. I think it's reasonable for people to look at this and be kind of disappointed. I also think that there's something to be salvaged from this. I actually think that there's a pretty like 7 out of 10 here, like a pretty like B grade video game. I liked Arceus better though.
Well, it sounds like maybe Pokemon needs to, or Game Freak specifically, needs to keep it a little bit less tight and a little bit less indie, and maybe they need to lean into hire maybe 2 more people who could work on polishing some of these things and expanding some of these things. Because, I mean, it genuinely does sound kind of interesting when you're describing the combat, but like the rest of it sounds like I just know I would not put up with that and I wouldn't really get into it. But it's a shame that it isn't more polished and well-rounded and more expansive in those ways. But
well, you know, hey, you announced a $20 DLC before the like expansion to your game with no real example of what it is 2 weeks before you shipped your game. Like they already said like actually it's $100 technically because like we've clearly withheld content from you. Get excited.
That does not give me a good feeling. That's gross.
Yeah, it's the part where just like the Pokemon company is just like scooping people out. Yeah, it's tough. It's tough. Hey, if you like Pokemon, you've already played it. I've not told you anything new. We're just here trying to convince Brad Galloway to play a Pokemon game. That's all we're doing.
Mission not accomplished. All right, folks, that was Pokemon ZA. I will not be jumping aboard.
I have a physical copy. I could just like you could borrow.
Nah, don't bother. Don't bother. I'm not gonna play it.
I'll snap it in half.
Let's do a quick time. So we're just pause. Don't pause anything. Just we're kind of like stepping out of the show for a second. Quick time check. We should probably wrap up in another 25, 30 minutes or so. If we want to give about maybe 10 minutes to each game left, I think that'll be like a full 2-hour episode. And I actually have like shit to do at the home. I think my son is still not back yet, so I've got to go do some stuff.
It's true. Yeah, I agreed.
All right, so let's do a little, just kind of like keep your eyeball on the time and let's wrap up. If we can wrap up around, I think 25, 30 minutes from now, that'd be perfect.
Okay, aim for 1:30. Got it.
Yeah, pretty much. Give or take. A few minutes there is fine. Okay. Let me make a note of it. Back into it here. Okay. All right. Let me talk about Space Chef for a minute. This one came out of nowhere, caught my attention because it seemed to be like just this big mix of like various different elements. Basically, it's a 2D game that kind of looks like a cartoon. I'm not trying to say that it looks like animation quality, but like the type of characters you get are very cartoon-like. I could easily see those on like a Fox 30-minute cartoon type thing. Colorful, kind of flat textured in some ways. I mean, it's not unappealing. I think it's fine. Looks fine. But basically, you are a chef in space. You wake up in your what is the equivalent of like a double wide mobile home in space, and you are launched pretty quickly into, hey, you're the chef of this area. People are going to give you orders. Get to it. And there's not like a real strong narrative through line in the beginning, which is again kind of getting back to my pickiness about tutorials. I would like a little bit a better tutorial to start things off, but you are introduced quickly to a very rudimentary combat system where you equip like a spatula or a rolling pin or something. I'm sure the weapons will scale up as you go. You walk around and just kind of like bash monsters that you meet, and sometimes the monsters will turn into a usable ingredient, sometimes they will not. You collect those things, and then you have a little like quick time event cooking scenario where you grill stuff. I'm sure there's other ways of cooking as well in the future, and you make different things with them. Like in the very first section of the game, you get like a beef roach, which the description is it's surprisingly meaty, which kind of grossed me out a little bit. You make burgers, and then you get these orders come in from people who are living in other floating space stations who are like, I would like a beef roach burger. So you cook those, you get in your little spaceship, and you like fly in real time out to where they are. There's a little timer counting down until they become dissatisfied, because you've taken too long to deliver the food. You deliver it there, and then you go back. So that's the first part of the game. You can also like pause all of that. Like you literally hit right on the D-pad and just like, shop is closed. Now I am in freeform exploration mode. And you've got like an entire galaxy, and I'm not sure how far it goes, but there's a pretty big area where you can just fly around. And there's like fog of war where you don't know what's there. You got to kind of fly out there, and as you go, you're uncovering part of the map. Kind of like you're in Diablo or something. And then you kind of just like find these other space encampments and talk to people, and you can explore planets. You like land on these planets and just like kill things at random to see what you get, what you can make with, and so forth and so on. You bring those things back home, and there's multiple crafting menus. There's like recipe crafting. There is household accoutrement crafting. There is also like spaceship and gear crafting. So like 3 different levels of crafting, and they kind of just throw it all together in there. They don't explain a whole lot, and once you get past like the very, very, very beginning of the game, they're just like, go crazy, do whatever you want. And I'm like, okay, that's, as I'm sure you have guessed by now, Jeremiah, that's where I kind of like lost steam. I need a little bit more of an on-ramp,
Yeah.
like I am not the experimental gamer where you put me in a sandbox and I'm happy. That is not me.
And like, I can be. This is where we meet on this. Like, okay. I can be that person. I do kind of need you to just like get me started.
Yeah. I agree. And I really didn't understand the rhythm of the game, because you can turn off the cooking part essentially forever. And so I'm like, well, all I have is beef roaches and I want to find something else. So I'm going to turn this off and I'm going to go explore for a while. But then I was like really weak and I had just like really shitty equipment, and I went to a planet where I was finding nothing. Not everything I killed, I couldn't use any of it. So I'm like, what am I even doing here? Where should I go? What should I do? Am I just like blindly searching for ingredients? I guess I am. And then I'm collecting space junk, and I don't quite know what to do with the space junk. And there's like lots of systems, lots of capital T things to do in this game, like loads of systems, loads of content. But like, I don't feel the narrative impetus to do any of it because I'm not sold on the game yet. Like, I'm not in. I don't feel, that I am the character or that I sympathize with the character. I'm kind of just like presented with this platter of things in front of me, and they expect that like that's enough to get me to go do them. But I don't have that much free time. I don't have that much, general layabout in my life that I can pick up a random game and just like devote like 6 hours to finding my feet with it, So I think that it's interesting to blend all these things: combat, different crafting, cooking, flying around in space. I mean, these things are all kind of neat, and I would look forward to the ever escalating, combat scenarios and, different situations I might get into. But like, I need some funny stories. I need a couple characters to kind of keep me going. I need a little bit of just throw me the bare bones of a quest. Like, I think the first quest was like, deliver 2 burgers. I delivered 2 burgers. They're like, okay, you're done. Go and explore the universe. And I'm like, bro, I need a little bit more than that, I think. So I like the way it looks. I like the concept, but it's too freeform, it's too self-directed, I think. And I'm just not good with self-directed games until you get me in. I think that I'm the kind of person who likes a really structured beginning. Teach me your systems, teach me the vibe. And if I like what I'm doing, then I will probably be bursting with ideas of things that I want to try, or places I want to go, or things that I want to do, or animals that I want to kill. But like, until I get to that point of where I feel in, it throwing having this like rotating sushi bar conveyor belt of stuff in front of me doesn't appeal to me until I have a reason to like it. And I just couldn't find any hooks to get into it.
It's got I'm hearing some busy box kind of
yes,
kind of things here, and like that can be, I don't know, that stuff can be meaningful. I'm with you. I look to other types of games for that. If I want that type of experience, I have a sketchbook right here on my desk. Like, I can have infinite open space to like fuck around and find out.
Yes,
and I don't need your video game to do that. Unfortunately, it's for someone, but it's not for us.
Yeah, I think if I was like 14 on summer vacation and I had nothing going on and I was stuck at home and I just needed something to just like burn some time, because time otherwise is dragging. I mean, okay, maybe a perfect game for that. Different time, different place, different point in my life. But at this point, no, I don't need this giant platter of stuff to do. So it's a cool idea. Yeah. It looks cute, but I noped out pretty quickly. So that is Space Chef. I do not need that many opportunities to be self-directed. I want someone to direct me when I'm playing a game these days. Tell me what to do, please.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, moving on. Final Fantasy Tactics. We mentioned it at the top of the show. It's like it's one of the big dogs of the genre. It's one that a lot of people reference. It's, I think many people would probably say it's one of the best, a high watermark, so forth and so on. Came out a million years ago. I've played it, but you're playing it right now, and I assume this is your first time playing it?
No, this is my fifth time playing it.
Okay, so to set the stage a little bit, fifth as in I have completed it 5 times and I just love this game so much I want to spend some more time with it, or in I have bounced off this game 4 times and this is my 5th time to try to get into it.
This is my 5th time attempting to see this game.
Okay. All right. Please continue.
Yeah. So I need to be very careful here because I have there are thoughts, and we're not going to do another show inside of this one. So calling back to the last time you and I talked about this, my tactics based woes. It's a genre that I cannot get away from. My shelves are loaded with tactics games that I want to play, and yet so often I engage with them and I just walk away feeling defeated, like the biggest dummy who just cannot get their fucking head wrapped around what's happening. That's usually that's usually how I feel about a tactics game. And yet, here I am. Final Fantasy Tactics is one of my white whales. It is a game that I don't feel that I should be bad at. Which is crazy to think of, but it's just what can I not fucking get about this goddamn game? And so I keep playing it. So I played it on the original PlayStation. I picked it up on the PSP. I've got the iOS version of it, which is bad.
iOS? I didn't even know there was an iOS version. That's crazy. I can't imagine ever playing it on a phone.
It's hard. Well, it's iPad. It's hard to play just because there's a lot of tapping every little thing in the menu. Anyhow, and then so now we've arrived here, and I am almost near the end of the game. So I want to give some credit to what they've done with this. We don't get a lot of I wouldn't call this a remake. We don't get a lot of remasters like this, this is as loving and as well taken care of and reverent for its source material than we see almost at all.
Okay.
It is rare. Square Enix seems to just be the group right now that lovingly is touching up all of their stuff. Dragon Quest 3 was amazing. Live, what they did to Live Alive was amazing. And Tactics is no different. So I don't think you can ask for a better version of this game. So they've also tweaked the numbers a little bit, but I'm going to tell you that a lot of the things that I remember being crushing about this game are still there, but the on-ramp is so much easier.
Okay.
They have rewritten the story so that it can be spoken out loud. So for you, and I think for a lot of people that were just what is this fucking community theater Shakespeare bullshit, has either been toned down significantly or removed entirely.
Really? I had no idea they had done that. And that is something that has always grossed me out about it. That's surprising.
So the thee and thou-ness of it is gone.
Interesting.
It's much more adjacent to a Game of Thrones script now, which is perfectly fine. It means that you can still get the flavor is still there. There's lots of and all of that. Mm-hmm. But it's not just applying a thick coat of paint to be something it's not.
Okay.
All voiced. So that makes it so much easier to engage in that story, which I'm going to tell you is actually not as surprise. Final Fantasy Tactics story is by 2025 standards is not it's compelling, but it's not complicated.
Okay.
You can absolutely keep track of what's going on. I think the problem writ large the early days is that it was so poor, the translation was so clunky. It was hard to keep all the names and the interactions straight because they just weren't concise enough.
That was my experience with it, for sure.
All of that is gone. Truly. I think that you cannot ask for a better just written version of the story that they've been trying to tell. So I I've actually managed to make it through this game because the early difficult stuff has been like, they kind of like let you get in the groove. And they just take a lot of the tedium out of it. You don't have to do the battle. Like if you're failing, you don't have to lose your party members. You can just bail out. You don't have to save scum. You can just not do the random battles on the map. That's fine. The errands that you send your team on don't fail the way that I remember them doing. They just kind of let you have them, which is fine because who cares? It's not easier, but it's streamlined. So I now know the furthest point I've ever reached in Tactics for anybody who's actually played it. And it's the end of Act 3. I'm surprised I ever got that far. And it's the very last fight in Riavanis, on a rooftop of Riavanis Castle, where you are just like... I blamed me. I now know that Final Fantasy Tactics... So we're talking about that mech game earlier. The way that Tactics solves the conflict of you getting like beefing up your team and like finding your way through things is that they will lower the note. Like you'll either be against way stronger enemies, you'll have like something to protect that's really difficult to protect, or you'll have like they'll put something in your way that actually really tests your loadout. So I'm like 20 levels above the story content at this point and getting shredded. Or it is possible for me to like, if you don't pay attention, these story scenarios are constructed in such a way where your level 60 knight is just going to take one in the head from this level 40 archer.
Yeah.
Because like the terrain's been arranged in such a way, we've loaded things out in such a way that like they consistently balance the challenge. And now because I have a foothold, I actually feel like I'm able to engage with this game and solve those problems. And it's been pretty fucking great.
Interesting. Huh. You know, I hear what you're saying and I believe you. But man, I have had like a grudge against Final Fantasy Tactics for like the longest time. I played, the OG version back in the day. And like you said, the These and the Thous and the brutal on-ramp and everything. And I just really bounced off of it. And as someone who has always liked tactics games, it was always the biggest thorn in my side that so many people held it up as like the pinnacle of the genre, when I'm like, there's so many other better experiences to have. I just never saw what people saw in it. I just never liked it that much. I mean, full disclosure, I think part of that too is, if I recall correctly, although there are named characters, but there's also like a lot of like unit characters, right? Where you just get like Archer or whatever, and you can change jobs to whatever you want. And that to me messes up my brain. Like it's not orderly, it's not neat, it's not specific. And having that much ability to fuck around and play around with the systems never was appealing to me. I don't like that kind of tactics game. So that's probably one of the reasons why I didn't like it. Same thing with like Tactics Ogre or Ogre Battle or anything like that. All those kind of like fuck around with the units games have never appealed to me.
I think I'm just a kind of like in a different headspace with it these days. I will agree with you that part of it can feel chaotic for someone like me, because you give me 18 jobs, I want all of them to be mastered. Yeah. And that is completely it can be done, but it's unreasonable, and it is to the detriment of how I play this game. So I consciously I spread it around a little bit, but I aimed for specific. What's great about it is that you can aim for specific things that other classes do. So one thing that I have a white mage that is almost impossible to kill, because just for a minute I had him dip into being a dragoon, which has a reaction skill called Dragonheart. And when somebody gets hit with Dragonheart, or while they have it on, they cast re-raise on themselves. So like I never have to heal him. When he dies, he just resurrects. And then if he gets hit again, he'll cast re-raise on himself, he'll die, he'll bring himself back to life. And so I'm because they've taken away all of like the initial like onboarding problems. This time I've been able to go like, oh, here's how I can kind of like this character is going to be what they are. Like they might just be an archer for the rest of the game, but I'm going to like dip down into some of these other jobs, and I'm going to build the version of the archer that works for me.
That makes perfect sense. Yes, I hear you. Sorry, go ahead.
I actually give a lot of credit. Like right now I'm giving a lot of credit to Final Fantasy Tactics and Ogre Battle, because here's what I never realized, and I don't think a lot of people did either. This is like the branded skin over Ogre Battle, or
yes.
like Tactics Ogre. Sorry,
yes.
Ogre Battle is a different game. Tactics Ogre. This is the easy version of Tactics Ogre. That's the whole idea. This was like the easy like mainstream version of Tactics Ogre, which is wild to me because I'm like, what do you mean it gets harder? But so yeah, you do have a lot of flexibility to build your own units. And this time I've been able to do that, and it's been a lot of fun. I think, but it took other games to do that. Like I hadn't played Final Fantasy V at the time, which is like a big job systems game.
Yeah.
Bravely Default didn't exist, which actually like Bravely Default is like the turn-based RPG version of what Tactics is doing. Just like you can like mix and match your jobs to like make the thing that you want. Like there's a lot of like expressivity in that. And they actually explained how bravery and faith work this time, which this game doesn't have defense as a stat. So all the stats you're used to aren't there, but you have these two weird things of bravery and faith. If someone has low bravery, they don't hit as hard, they're easier to hit, their reactions don't trigger, and if they fall to a certain level of bravery, they run away forever. Conversely, if someone has high faith, they become too good for you. They go to college and they leave your party, but they're really good at magic. But they're also, the more faith you have, the more susceptible you are to magic. So like now I know that when you recruit people, if I recruit somebody with high bravery and like mid-level faith, they really should be doing physical damage. And like they're good to put in front of a magic user because they're just not going to get hit as hard by like fire.
Yeah.
And just now they finally have really like dialed in how that gets taught to you. And the Evil East Chronicles is fucking great. So I'm back on board. I'm completely sold. Also, like, that game is really random, and I was blaming myself for a lot of like shitty meat grinders that I was like, I had a low percentage chance of getting through because that's literally how they're designed.
Yes. I hear what you're saying. I'm glad you're finding the fun in it because I hear you talking and I just don't. None of this is appealing to me, which is absolutely fine. Horses for courses, different strokes, all that stuff. And I'm glad that you're able to get into it. And I consider myself a real Tactics fan, but this is the flavor of Tactics that is like black licorice to me. Do you like black licorice, by the way, or no?
No, worst flavor on the planet.
Okay, same. Exactly. It's disgusting. It's not even a food. I don't know why people like it. So like this type of Tactics is like my black licorice, and I'm like I may like a red licorice or a purple or whatever fancy flavor you got, but black licorice can just fuck off and die, and that's kind of how I feel about these games. So I'm glad you found it. I'm glad you found the fun, and I am really surprised and heartened by their change in the dialogue. I mean, I would be curious, as somebody who really had an allergic reaction to the these and the thous back then, I would, just on that note, want to see how they've changed it. That sounds really interesting to me, but otherwise, I do not think this is a game for me. But I'm glad you're liking it, though, and I assume you're going to try to finish and roll credits.
Yeah, I've done all the side quests that I know of. So like I got all of like the weird side characters, which are all so far have all been fun. So I'm almost towards the end, but yes, we're gonna finish it. And actually, I'm going to leave Final Fantasy Tactics with, of all games, with more confidence to go play another Tactics game.
Wow. Wow. I would not have guessed that at the beginning before we talked about this game at all. So I think that is probably the best possible outcome you could hope for.
Yeah, this game is like like at least from playing this one, because I revere it the way that I do, and they've adjusted it in the way that they have. I can actually see like, oh, I won this fight by the skin of my fucking teeth, but that is because I actually know what I'm doing. Like I understood what was asked of me from like the concept of like making a tactical decision to solve the problem, which is
yeah.
tactics games are, I feel like tactics games writ large are actually really bad about giving you that feedback. They tend to make you feel that you failed even when you succeeded.
Well, I think that's great. I think I agree with you. Sometimes the communication of what works and what doesn't in a tactics game is not clear. And I find that the ones that I do tend to like are more clear about their feedback. So I know that there's all kinds, and I have had those feelings of, like another, like Disgaea. Have you ever played Disgaea?
I like early days. I think maybe 2 is the one that I played.
Yeah, it's a really long running series, kind of similar. And I felt the same way about Disgaea as I did about Final Fantasy Tactics, and that kind of loops back to not understanding why or what or how to get better. And I end up to have that series for the same reason, where it's like I'm willing to engage, but you've got to like meet me halfway and communicate with me. And so if I am left to my own devices to kind of like stumble and fall wherever I do, that to me is I can't have one game for the year, right? Like you could take that much time to figure out what are the systems, what's going wrong, what's going right, and like do a deep dive analysis, get out your spreadsheet, get online, talk about strat. I mean, that's a thing you can do, and if people like it, that's great. I don't begrudge them. I'm not trying to take anything away from that, but for me, that's not the kind of experience that I like. So I definitely like something more communicative, and I hesitate to say prescriptive, but something that is a little simpler and just kind of hits different tactics cells for me in my brain.
Yeah.
But
I don't think I ever realized how weird the stat layout for Final Fantasy Tactics is between bravery and faith, and then the zodiac chart thing that they do.
Zodiac, yes.
Completely washed that from my brain. My last quick point for this, something that I found surprising that I love about at least this version of Tactics, is building a weird little team, taking them into a random battle, and then assigning them auto battle roles. Yes. And seeing if they can finish it by seeing if my configuration can hold up to automation.
How's it been going?
Sometimes we win, sometimes we don't. One of my favorites is to put Beastmaster as a trait on one person and surround them with chocobos and see if they can make it through.
That sounds very funny. All right, dude, we're going to circle back on this. This is the perfect thing to circle back on. So next time you're on, I'm guessing you probably will have finished this game. Let us know your overall wrap up. It'll be perfect touchstone for that. Make a note, sir.
We will do it. All right.
Last game of the show. Yeah. one more game of the show that we're going to wrap up here. Halls of Torment, which I am playing on the PS5. This game was weird to me. Again, I mean, I think I'm just really busy right now. I have not really been in tune with the zeitgeist and stuff. I haven't really heard about this until I got some PR. And you look at it, and if you don't know anything about it, which I didn't, it looks like something from the 90s that's getting a remaster. But apparently it's brand new.
It looks like Diablo. It looks like the original. It looks like Diablo 2.
It does. It looks just like that. The same pixelation, the same sort of like weird movement. If you didn't know better, and I didn't, looking at this, you're like, oh yeah, this is totally from like 1994. It emulates that era perfectly, and it's a style choice, and I think it's fine. I think it's totally okay. Works for me. Looks like Diablo, but it is actually a survivors like. And so I went on a little bit of a journey with this game, and I'll tell you this. Don't chip in if you know where I'm going with this, because it's kind of a twist. But like I like the survivors. I know you do too. We'll talk about that in a second. I like those games quite a bit. They've got that kind of like jump in, jump out, arcadey feel. Sometimes when I've only got like 20 minutes, I can get in and I can just play one round of something and feel like I did something. I unlocked something. I hit a milestone or whatever, and feel good about myself, bouncing it back to my stupid emails or whatever. So I like survivors games in general. And so this one, it's got the look of Diablo, like you said, and I play a lot of them, but most of them I don't feel have the juice to kind of keep me in. I'm looking for ones that have good ideas, new spins on the formula, something different brought to the table. So I've got a couple of recommendations for people who like those. We'll get to those at the end. I'd like to hear yours as well. But for this one, number one, the graphics kind of set it apart, which is fine, but that's not enough. So I start playing this game just like any other Survivors game. Like, you have a guy, you go into a dungeon, you start off with the swordsman, there's no other choices, but like you unlock more classes as you go. And you're just like killing guys just like every other Survivors games, like skeletons and slimes and dogs and whatever come running at you. And you have a lot of options. I will say there's quite a number of options. I turned off some stuff, turned on some stuff, and basically it's all like automated like a Survivors is, except for I aim manually. I think that sometimes that was kind of beneficial, like if you need to get away in a certain direction, or if there's one particular guy but he's not close enough to you but you want to like hit him. I like having a little bit of agency, not all the time, but in this particular game I'm like, okay, aiming feels good, but otherwise it's like a Survivors like. So I'm playing it, I'm like, okay, this is fun, this is okay. Leveling up, pretty straightforward. There's not a lot of variety in the bonuses you're getting. You get like better attack or better health regeneration. I mean, pretty standard. I'm like, okay, this is fine. And I'm waiting to see what the hook is, right? And then I go to the pause screen, and then you have like the Diablo gear loadout. You've got a slot for a helmet, you've got 2 rings, you've got a weapon, you've got boots, chest piece or whatever. I'm like, oh, okay, some gear. That's cool. I pick up some gear as I'm playing. Some ring that gives me like plus 50% critical hits, and I'm like, oh shit, that's like a lot. Okay, that's like a good ring. Put that ring on. I get some boots that are like plus 2 movement, and I notice right away that I'm walking faster. Like, it's not so incremental that you don't even notice the difference. Like, I'm like, okay, I'm speedy, I'm peppy, I get it. I play through the level. I almost beat the level the first time, and I'm feeling pretty good about it. I'm liking the experience. I get back to camp, and I go, okay, well, that would be pretty cool if this game lets you keep this gear persistently. That would be a new spin for this genre. I look at my menu, all the shit's gone. And I'm like, no, that's like the only thing I was looking forward to. I wanted this game to fucking have that thing. What else does it fucking possibly bring to the table? And I got kind of frustrated with it. I'm like, that sucks. So I give it one more go, and I try the next character. I go to the next level. And the very first quest is, I don't know, unlock this guy, free this guy from the dungeon or something. So you go like, unlock him, whatever. You go back to town, and then he's like, oh yeah, by the way, if you have this gear, I'll let you keep it. And then you can buy some more gear. So I'm like, oh, I'm back in. Like, it was like, I didn't think it did it, and then it did it. And I was like super bummed, and then I'm happy. And so it like revived my interest in the game, and I was really glad to see that they are using persistent gear with various bonuses as like the hook to this particular game, which I think is a good one. I think that's a really cool idea that I have not seen in a lot of other Survivors likes. Going in with one character, doing a run, and whatever gear you get. I mean, you have to like send it up a bucket so that somebody saves it. You got to buy it later. I mean, there's stipulations to it, but bottom line, you can have persistent gear from run to run to increase your chances of survivability, in addition to the usual stat ups that carry from character to character like other Survivors do. So I like that hook a lot. I think it's really cool and really fun. I think it's great. The variety in characters so far has been okay. Started off with the swordsman, which was pretty good. Went to the magic user, which sucked. I went to the archer, which was pretty good. There's like a flamethrower guy, which was awesome. Although they're not really that different. They're slightly different, but not super different, which I'm hoping more variety will pop up as you go. And as you play, there's like a million little micro quests. Kill 500 turtles, get 50 rings or something. And each one unlocks a little bit more. So complexity is growing. Depth is growing. I'm getting more and more options. I'm getting more and more gear, which is good because I feel like the moment-to-moment gameplay of the runs isn't quite as varied as you might expect. Each character more or less feels the same, and the level ups you get, like I said before, like, slightly better attack, slightly better movement, they're fine and you need them, but it doesn't feel like you're getting these wacky builds. It doesn't feel like you're getting all these crazy powers like you might in Vampire Survivor. I think so far, I would like to see more variety in the powers you can get. That would spice things up a little bit. But I'm still enjoying it quite a bit. I really love the gear idea, and I'm curious to see how that goes. I want to get more gear. I want to have like stronger stats. It's an interesting approach and one that I think really, really works. And so far, I'm still in. I've beaten the first 2 levels all the way. There's a boss in each one that you need to fight, an ultimate boss. And I think it's really good. The only one major downside that I will say to this game, and this is a debatable one, is I feel like the basic run for any level is 30 minutes, and I feel like that's 10 minutes too many. 30 minutes of doing survivors like gameplay, for whatever reason, feels very different from 20 minutes. I'm so used to the 20-minute runs in Vampire Survivors that when you have those extra 10 minutes, it just feels like an eternity. And I get tired, and it really kind of tests my endurance on those. So I think those could be shorter. But other than that, an interesting one that I really like, and I'm curious to explore it further.
Yeah, I like this one. I've been on board with this one since it came out, since it did its early access release. I buy these games based on vibes. Mm-hmm. I'm like super bad about that. Like if the look is right, I'll go in.
And the look is very cool here. I like the look a lot.
Yeah, but they just had a big update, so I've not gone back in for that.
Have you gone through and done like all the characters, and have you like beat the whole game, or like what's your story been with this?
I did the warrior and the archer. I've not touched the magic guy.
He blows. I think he really sucks.
And I haven't gone back to spend a good amount of time with it. Just remember that like I maybe got in a little too early.
Gotcha.
It's that kind of like early access syndrome for a game where like you kind of only see so much of it, and like it's time for me to go back and revisit it.
You should. I think it's really coming along. I don't know that it's entirely finished. I mean, it's a 1.0 release and it's on console, so they can say it's finished. I don't know if there's going to be more coming to it. There was a DLC update called the Boglands, which came with the review code that I got. And I'm not sure what it added because I've never played the game before. So maybe I'm seeing more content than pre-release or early access people have seen. But so far it's cool. I'm still playing it. I'm building up slowly my stock of gear, and it is a pretty cool idea to just have this persistent stuff going in. And like when I went in with the archer, that person is already predisposed towards criticals, and so I got that ring that I mentioned, and you pick up a couple more things. I think I had like an 88% chance of doing a critical. So it was like just like I was doing criticals all the time. And then if you lean into that build, you can get some really amazing results. So it's been a lot of fun. I'm looking forward to like playing with the build some more, unlocking some more stuff. Still early days. I still have at least a couple more levels to go before I'm anywhere near the end, but really liking it a lot. I think it is good stuff. Now, Jeremiah, you said you are a Survivors fan, correct?
I'm a sucker for these.
Do you have any favorites that you would like to recommend to people who would maybe want to check out other titles in this genre?
Let me see. The two that come to mind. The first one I ever played was 30 Minutes Till Dawn.
I don't know that I've played that one.
So I like 30 Minutes Till Dawn. That one's it's a little long in the tooth. Like it was contemporary with like Vampire Survivors in its early days. Mm-hmm. The one that like I would point everybody to right now is Deep Rock Galactic Survivor.
Oh, I've got that on Xbox. I haven't touched it yet. It's good.
That game. Well, so this is the thing. It's the Survivor version of Deep Rock Galactic. I didn't realize they had a console release. That game, I think that one rules. I think that is the one group that has like meaningfully added, like made a meaningful like genre add to it. Because you're like doing resource collecting while you're doing the Survivor stuff.
Like little mini missions and other objectives, right?
Yeah. And just you literally like dig through the ground while you're doing it, like through the walls as you're doing it, so you can build towards like, hey, the faster I dig, I can cut my way out of a problem, or like I can create a choke point by doing this. So
and
like,
it's like a top down, right? Like that one is Survivors.
Yeah, it's the Survivors. It's pretty much what you'd expect, just genre wise. But no, the Deep Rock Galactic one is like my current favorite. I've put more time into that one than Vampire Survivors, I believe.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, which is weird to say because I feel like there's always something to do. I haven't even looked at the Balatro stuff that Vampire Survivors just did.
Oh, so. That's right. The Balatro update just came out like a day or two ago, right?
But yeah, those are my two. 30 Minutes Till Dawn, but really it's just the Deep Rock Galactic one is the one you want.
Okay, that's good. I'm going to bump that up by my queue because it's been on my Xbox for a while and I haven't touched it yet, but I have been looking at it. I've heard other people say good things about it, so I will check that one out for sure, maybe later today. The couple that I would throw out, I talked about Yet Another Zombie Survivors a couple days ago. I really like that one a lot. Have you ever tried that one?
No, I've seen this one though.
It looks like something that you should avoid. I fully admit that. It looks like crap that you don't want to spend money or time on, but it's actually quite good. I like it a lot. It's got a different feel to the character progression in each level. You feel like it's a little bit like I don't know, like League of Legends or something is what I kind of compare it to, where you feel like you're kind of racing to get to the build that you have predetermined, not that you're picking up random power ups and just kind of like getting crazy OP. So you have a build that you're shooting for, and you can mess around with that between levels. But also you have two other characters to go with you. You eventually become a trio of three different characters, each one with a specific build that you decide before you start the level, and then you play towards that with Survivors like gameplay. It's really fun. I know it looks like ass, like when you look at like screenshots or whatever. It's really good. Like, trust me, it's very good. If you like these games, worth your time.
But like I Deep Rock Galactic almost looks like too put together to be a Survivor game.
Too like, flashy, too nice, too polished.
Which just like, cause it looks nice, and it runs well, and it's got voice acting and like sound effects.
It's almost antithetical to the genre, right?
Like I love the idea that we do have this like somewhat like casual hardcore genre of game that actually the baseline aesthetics of it need to look a little grungy and like low budget. I love that we have that. We don't have a lot of good things, but we have this.
I love casual hardcore too. That's a pretty good term. The other one I want to shout out really quick, Keeper's Toll. Ever played Keeper's Toll?
No, that one I don't know.
Man, that one is a great one. Really good. That was the first one that really hooked me after Vampire Survivors. This one has specific different character types, and every character has their own progression. So, like in Vampire Survivors, you can pick anybody. Like you pick the old guy with the garlic shield or whatever. But along the way, you will pick up the abilities from like the other characters. Like you'll pick up the barmaid's music notes, and you'll pick up the thief's daggers or whatever. And so like it kind of doesn't really matter which guy you pick, because you'll eventually pick up like this whole hodgepodge of stuff, right?
Yeah, there's so much in play. Yeah,
exactly. In Keeper's Toll, it's not that at all. You have a specific character. That character has their own unique skill tree that is unique to them. So if you pick up the fire guy, everything you have will be like fire related, and like no other character has those powers. And so each character feels like its own unique journey through the game, because you're learning the power. Like the melee guy has no powers shared with anybody else. And so you're like, okay, I got to learn the melee guy. What's he like? And I got to learn the fire guy, and I got to learn like the archer guy. And each one is like totally unique. And I really loved it. I had a good time going through with like every single character and just learning which powers I liked, which ones I didn't, how they were different. Sometimes you want to be really close. Sometimes you want to be really far. Sometimes you're avoiding. Sometimes you're confronting. And there's also like each play is pretty reasonable. I think it falls between 20-30 minutes to kind of like roll credits on it. Very, very fun, very well put together. This one I think will satisfy your grunge criteria. It's just a great game.
It looks crunchy enough.
Yeah. Keeper's Toll, I just had like the best time with it. I definitely recommend that one for sure. So, all right, folks, there we go. Those are all the brand new games we've got to discuss on this episode. However, like many humans, Jeremiah and I do spend a few minutes a week in front of screens that don't have menus or life bars. That's right, folks. It's time for the TV and movie roundup. Jeremiah, you got anything you've been watching you want to plug this week?
Again, not much of a watcher. I'm finishing up the putting the sleeves on a sweater right now. So when I'm doing that, I've been working through the Oathbringer, the Brandon Sanderson book, the Stormlight Chronicles stuff. That's what I'm listening to while I'm knitting. And like, oh my God, like, remember, this is the guy who eventually started co-writing Wheel of Time. So, those books are like 24 hours long. Like they just, oh man, they just keep going. Like they're fun, but,
so you've got some content to chew through then.
I mean, I hate to say that it's kind of like that kind of slop for that, but it helps me like do something with the monotony of just like, thousands of knit stitches that need to be done to complete a sweater.
I think that's the first time anybody's ever brought an audiobook to the show. I think you have the honor and distinction of being the first. Congratulations.
Yeah, I'm the audiobook guy. Like I really don't watch TV and movies. Because again, like I knit when I knit or I sketch when I'm not doing screen stuff. So,
all right.
You kind of can't watch TV when you're doing that.
Very true. Very true. Any other audiobooks you want to plug, or you're just neck deep in that one?
That's pretty much the one that I'm listening to now. I went through Interview with a Vampire again. recently, which that one's a pretty decent one. That one's fun.
Right on. And have you got to the sequel, Second Interview with the Vampire yet?
Sorry, I saw a meme about that, so I'm sure you're not making that joke. But
that's what I'm referencing.
Okay, it's that one. Like, yeah, Third Interview with a Vampire. Sorry, you're not really a great fit for the vampire.
Good series. Good job, Anne Rice. Excellent. All right. All right, let me plug what I've got real quick here. Just finished watching Alien Earth. This is on Hulu. I'm a fan of the Alien franchise. I'm not a diehard fan. I mean, I really liked the first Alien. I really loved Aliens. And then it's kind of hit or miss since then. There's a couple movies that I feel like are pretty fucking whack. Some that are like, okay. So I'm not like hardcore on board with all of it. But I gotta say, this one is interesting. I'm not gonna spoil anything. But basically, it gives you like a much deeper look into the world of Aliens. It's a prequel, although I feel like that's a weird choice because I don't know that what happens in this series really, how that plays out in the rest of the movies. I'm not sure where that's going to go. I think prequel is a weird way to go. But regardless, they talk a lot about the artificial people in the Aliens universe and how that works, and AI and how that works, and the famous Weyland-Yutani Corporation who is behind bringing the aliens, or discovering the aliens anyway. And so you get to see all the inner workings of that and the cutthroat CEO stuff. It's pretty interesting. I've never seen another Aliens film that kind of got into it as much as this one does. It's very little about the alien itself and much more about the conditions, the world, the situation, the society, which I think really fascinating. But I will say, in this, and this is not a spoiler, there's been tons of coverage of this. The people in this movie, they get the alien and they find him in space and bring him back. I mean, that's the classic alien story. But in this particular series, they also have several other alien species that they bring. And there's one that is like the crazy standout that is like a really good addition to the Pantheon. Not much of a spoiler. I think everybody kind of knows about it. I mean, I've seen costumes on it already. It's like an eyeball that has tentacles. And what it does is it jumps on your face. It rips out your eyeball and becomes your new eyeball. And it like controls your body. It's fucking weird. It's gross. And it's actually really highly intelligent. So there's a lot of really good scenes where you're looking at this eyeball monster and it's staring at you with its weird fucking eye and it's looking gross. And it's just a great addition, like really good idea, really cool monster. Very excited to see if they bring it back. I would love to see a movie just about that monster. That would be really fun. So, I've heard hot and cold from Alien fans about this miniseries, but I think it was fine. I think we had a lot of fun. The wife got into it, and I think it was just a really good watch. I think it's like 8 or 10 episodes altogether. I think it was thumbs up for sure.
That's
The only
the
other
problem
thing,
with being a fan, right? You get progressively harder to please.
I guess, but I mean, maybe that's why it worked for me. I'm only half a fan, so it's fine for me. The only other thing I'm going to plug this week is, as people know, if you listen to this podcast, I've been going back to watch the 80s cartoons that I loved as a kid. Yes, I am a child of the 80s. And back then, if you weren't in front of the TV at the right time, at the right place, at the right day, you just didn't see that fucking show. There was no download. There was no on-demand anything. And so a lot of the shows that I only caught a couple episodes of, I've wanted to go back and really catch up on and just see the whole thing from A to Z. And the most recent one was Dungeons & Dragons, which I think it was on CBS like in 81 or 83 or something like that. It only ran for, I think, 26 episodes. That was when the Satanic Panic hit America, and everybody thought that D&D was going to turn everybody into a devil-worshipping, like, mass murderer. And the cartoon itself is slightly more violent and dark than the other fare on Saturday morning at that time. But I went back to watch the whole thing, and it was pretty good. It starts off a little rough, but if you give it some time, give it like 1 or 2 episodes, they fall into a rhythm. And I think it's got a lot of big stars from that era, so the voice talent was really good. And I think that overall, it was a really fun show to watch. Seeing the interplay between the kids. Basically, if you don't know this cartoon, 6 kids get sucked into an alternate dimension, the world of Dungeons and Dragons, where people end up accidentally. And so they're there, they get magic powers, and then they have to like just find their way home. And so they kind of go from journey to journey, adventure to adventure. Each one has a different power, and then they just stay together to form a party and try to find their way back to Earth, which is a pretty good premise. It worked out really well. And I think the thing that's really interesting about this is it ran for 26 episodes, and it got canceled before the kids got back to Earth. So like everybody who was a fan of the show got left with like major blue balls narratively. And so what happened was the fans of the show got together. They hired one of the people who wrote for the show and commissioned him to use the material that got left on the cutting room floor. They were planning to end the show and give everybody resolution, but they did not get to it. So he took that material, wrote a script. Basically, this is like a what you would have gotten if we didn't get canceled so soon. And then they turned it into an audio play because there was, no budget for any kind of real animation. And I watched that this morning. It's like a half an hour audio play where they put the pictures of the script up on the screen. They hire some actors. I believe 2 of the original actors came back, and everybody else is a replacement actor. Most of them are good. One was horrible, but everybody else was good. And it was interesting to kind of get that resolution and closure that we didn't get. So that was a really neat resolution and kind of an interesting spin on that story. But watched it all the way through, and I think it was worth a watch if you're a fan of 80s cartoons. It was pretty good stuff. You ever seen it?
I do remember watching this early days, but not really falling into it. But I mean, if they've ended on what like on a sound novel for this to wrap it all up, then it's ready for Yoko Taro to adapt into a video game.
Interesting side note. Side note to the side note. There's a car company. I don't know what it's called, but I want to say it's a South American car company, and I want to say it was Argentina specifically. Clearly, the PR company for this car company were fans of the show because they put out a 2-minute and 30-second commercial, which is a car commercial, but also it ends this particular cartoon series. It shows all the kids in the world of Dungeons and Dragons, and they get in the car, and then they go home and they have a battle, and there's dragons and there's all sorts of stuff. So it's a car commercial, but it's also an unofficial end of the series if you never got to hear the audio play or if you didn't know about it, and you just watch this 2 minutes and 30, and they wrap it all up. It was fucking cool and interesting, and I would love to hear the story behind that. So that was really fascinating. But you've got 2 endings for this show. Good stuff. All right, folks, that is it. Oh, man, what a show. Thank you again for being here, Jeremiah. I really appreciate it. Before we wrap everything up, would love for everybody to leave reviews, share the show on social media. Most important of all, please recommend the show to your friends because nothing beats word of mouth. As always, we'd love your questions and comments. Hit me up, sovietgamespodcast@gmail.com, or on social media. You can find me on Instagram with Blue Sky. It's my name, BradGallaway, all A's, no O's. Jeremiah, would you like anybody to reach out to you in any way?
No, we're still off social media for the moment. You're still
in lockdown.
So,
okay.
I mean, whatever. Catch me lurking in your Discord channels.
All right, excellent. I was just about to bring the Discord. Perfect lead in. We do have a Discord, which Jeremiah and I are in. It's totally free of charge to join. Just drop me a line, and I will get you on board to continue the conversation. And finally, if you do want to support the show and GameCritics.com, if you want to help us out with the cost of running this podcast, you can do that over at patreon.com/the Soviet Games Podcast. Every single dollar helps, and €1 helps that much more. Folks, that's going to do it for episode 460. Thank you again for joining us here on the Soviet Games Podcast, and I'll see you next week.
And I'll see you eventually.